So welcome back, y'all. Today we're going to be showing y'all what a country ham that's 1 year old looks like when it gets sliced. So right here you see me pulling off a cloth sack, and that's what the ham hangs in when we hang them up in the springtime. But right there is the brown paper that you saw at the beginning of the video, us wrapping the ham up in. And now I'm just going to work on cleaning off all of the paper and pretty much just cleaning the ham up. So here, I know the ham looks a little bit on the nasty side, and I would imagine that if a person didn't know what a country ham was supposed to look like after it was unwrapped, he would probably throw this thing away thinking it was rotten. But I'm going to tell you what, it's far from rotten. That's what it's supposed to look like. A lot of what you see there is just the remnants of the pepper and the salt and the sugar that was put on the ham when it was cured. But there's also some mold and stuff that grows on that ham, and that mold is actually necessary for the curing process. I'm not 100% sure on how all that works, but I do know that it's supposed to be there, and it does not hurt you at all. So here I'm just now shaving off the outside layer. Pretty much just cleaning up all that old pepper and salt, just shaving it all off, and you can see how pretty that meat is under there. It's almost like jerky, really. And then once you slice into it, oh man, talk about good. So watch this right here. Fresh piece sliced right off of it, not cooked. Megan eat it. She absolutely loves it that way, y'all.
That big old bone out of it.
So before we get into slicing our pieces, we slice a couple of thick pieces off at the very end. There's not really that much lean meat on the very end, so we'll use those pieces cut up to put into a pot of pintos or a pot of green beans or anything that you would normally cook with a piece of meat in it, such as beans or greens or anything like that. So that right there is a prime center cut piece. So we're back up here at the house with the ham now, and just vacuum seal it and throw it in the freezer is all we do with it. But I guess technically it could set out.
I have a piece somewhere that I did last year.
Yeah. But basically you don't want the air to get to it though, because once
This is your steak.
Yeah, that's a prime cut right there. Once you cut into it, you kind of, I don't know, you break that layer of protection from the outside. So you have to do a little something with it. Like, you wouldn't want to leave it laying out on the table or whatever, but putting it in a vacuum sealed bag cuts the air off from it, and so it helps preserve what's left.
But we do freeze it though.
Yeah. And a lot of people will take and trim the edges off. We just do that right before we cook it. Look at that. Everything when you vacuum seal it, it just makes it look so pretty.
It's a pretty piece.
That is pretty. It's gonna taste good too.
Mm-hmm.
So you notice with our hams, they're darker in color than like a store-bought piece of country ham. And the reason for that is because this is traditionally cured ham. Most, if not all, country ham you buy in the store was cured in a very fast process.
I think it's like, what, a month?
If it's even that long.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's be a few weeks. But they inject them with... Now, I could be completely wrong about this, but I think they inject them with like sodium nitrate or something like that to cure the meat. Where this is not done that way. You know, this has took a year to get to the point it's at right now. And this ham could go... Like, this ham could have stayed hanging... I think Daddy told us last night the oldest one they'd ever sliced was 3 years old.
Yeah. And said it was delicious.
And at that point, you start losing the outside layers, though, because they just dry up and get hard. It's still edible. It's just very hard. It dries up and turns very hard. But he said that center had some really, really good flavor.
But these don't hang in like a temperature-controlled place or anything. Like, they hang out through the summer heat.
They're hanging in a tobacco barn.
Yeah, they're hanging in a barn.
Somewhere dark, dry, and fairly cool. I mean, you know, in the summertime, it's not going to be cold in there, but it's still not going to be like being out in the baking open sun. When you got your hams hanging somewhere, you kind of have to fix a little something so rats can't climb down the string of the ham sack and nibble on your ham, because they will do that. That's the only problem we've ever had with rats. As long as you keep them out of it. But see, that's the thing too. You can't put them in a building that's sealed up tight that rats can't get into, because they have to be in a building
that can breathe.
That air can flow through. So if you've got them hanging in a, you know, say your garage, and it's sealed up tight all the time, you would lose it. It wouldn't work. It's got to be a building that can breathe. Look at that.
You know, I'm sure country ham brings back a lot of memories for a lot of people, and I love to hear y'all stories and stuff in the comments. So y'all be sure to leave them down below if anybody you remember used to make country ham like we do, anyway. So, anyways, guys, I think that's a dying thing.
It is.
People don't really do that anymore, and people don't know how to do that anymore. And unfortunately, we can't exactly tell you how to do it, because it's a little bit of a family secret recipe that's about 200 years old. So.
It's so a backstory on a ham. Hams were a big thing around here for hundreds of years. You know, everybody always put up hams, and when I say put up, they cured hams. But back in the old days, and nobody told each other their recipe for how they salted down a ham, because everybody done it just a little bit different. And so anytime somebody had found a good recipe that worked good, and, you know, maybe wasn't too salty and it was a little bit sweet or whatever, that's what they stuck with. Well, the recipe that we use has been going on in our family for
a long time.
Yeah, very,
like
very long time.
Great grandpa or before that.
Up until Daddy told me, and there's one other guy that knows how, like, nobody knew the recipe for the hams that we do except for Daddy. And, you know, it's just kind of one of those things that...
I think our people can appreciate a secret family recipe.
Yeah, it's a secret family recipe, and, you know, I can tell you this, it's not very complicated at all. And don't even require that many ingredients, but it's just the proportions of it, I think, are more or less the secret part.
Right.
Because I'll tell you, I mean, it's brown sugar, salt, and pepper, and that's it. But it's the amounts of each one is what everybody kept secret.
Right.
Because I think everybody basically used the same ingredients. Now, not everybody put brown sugar on their hams. Some people just done salt. And when you have a salt-cured country ham, it's to be expected. It's more salty. It does have a different flavor than a sugar-cured country ham. Yeah, it's one of those things where you just kind of hold it quiet. And I'm not saying I wouldn't share it with somebody, but I definitely wouldn't announce it out on the internet for like millions of people to see. So,
but anyways, guys, we appreciate y'all watching. Thank you for all the continued support. Be sure to check out our playlist on everything but the squeal if you want to see all of our stuff that we do with these, with all of our hog meat and everything. So, anyways, guys, till we see you on the next one, y'all have a good one.
See you later, y'all.